Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the InterSim Esports Network here on a Friday night in Daytona Speedway at Daytona Beach, Florida is our location tonight here on a Friday night. And joining me in the broadcast booth, as always, is Paul Jackson. Paul, mate, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm pretty good. It's good that it's a Friday too.
It is always good to be broadcasting here on the InterSim Esports Network on a Friday night. So good to be broadcasting the full Throttle iRacing League's NextGen series here on a Friday night for something a little bit different. So thank you for those guys for allowing us to be a part of it. It's great to be a part of it here on a Friday night. So great entry of cars tonight here, Paul. Really looking forward to a lot of great racing around Daytona.
Definitely, and we're in the NextGen series cars tonight. So haven't myself. I haven't actually even bought one of these cars yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how these go around Daytona.
Yeah, most definitely. I've done a couple of laps around there. I'll give you a bit of information, ladies and gentlemen, on these next-gen cars. So it is what the NASCAR Cup Series will be running in 2022 in the real life. So they are a sequential gearbox. They do have 5 gears as opposed to the current cars that have 4. They are between 550 and 670 horsepower, depending on the track that they race. They are a restrictor plate race tonight at Daytona. So they'll be toned down a little bit to allow that tow, but definitely a lot of power. They do have a lot of aero as well. We are here, as I said, Paul, earlier at Daytona Beach, Florida. It is 2.5 miles in length, or in Australian or English terms, 4.023 kilometres. It is a permanent oval and does have 3 permanent road courses as well. So really excited for the racing tonight, mate. But we do have a special guest up in the booth as we're about to go into qualifying shortly. Tristan Koch, have you got a copy, mate?
I do indeed. Thank you.
Tristan, mate, you're out on track at the moment, but when you get a second, it'd be great for you to be able to give the viewers a little bit of a lap around Daytona Beach or Daytona International Speedway as you just go and take out a car into pit lane, mate. But yeah, when you reset that car, mate, if you could take the viewers around for a lap around Daytona and let them experience what it's like around a super speedway in the NextGen Cup car.
Okay, thank you. So here we are at Daytona. I'm driving a Mustang. 5 gears. Trying to push it to its rev limit in 4th. The best qualifying lap will probably hold this yellow line. However, if you go out to the wall, you can get the side draft and get a couple more clicks. Should be very interesting when you drive in the pack with these cars. Maximum speed when I've been following people is about 312 kilometers per hour. Estimated 26 laps roughly. However, the draft may get you 1 or 2 extra laps.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Tristan Koch with a lap around Daytona. And Paul, with those camera views, how good is that to show the viewers the steep banking? And great job there, Tristan. Thanks for making yourself available to be able to do that. That's really good for the viewers. So there is a lap around Daytona International Speedway at Daytona, Florida. So Mate, we'll let you jump up now into your channel, and best of luck in qualifying. Hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the broadcast with the top 3.
Thank you.
No worries. So, Paul, there we had Tristan Koch there. Great job by him in practice at the moment. Looks like my live timing has gone down. No, it's currently back up there. So Tristan's currently in 14th in practice, but we both know that that means nothing when we go to standalone qualifying here at Daytona without the draft.
Definitely, the times that they're putting in practice now, most of those times will be done with draft, and we've just rolled over into qualifying now. So we've got 5 minutes for qualifying, and yeah, lone qualifying, so there won't be any tow from a draft here, so those times will certainly change a little bit.
They will, but don't expect those times to be any further apart than what they were in practice. This track is pretty much flat out in 5th gear. It's all about, as Tristan said, getting that line right, whether you want to get that side draft off the wall, whether you want to stick it down on the yellow. We all have our different ways, as we see Michael Shaw now currently coming out on the track to get his first warm-up lap before he hits his 2 green laps. Michael Shaw is the owner of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League. So he's going to want to have a good run tonight. He usually goes well on super speedways, so he's going to be excited to have a good run. But Paul, it's definitely on these super speedways. It's anyone's. You've got to be there in the after the last pit stop, because we're always waiting for that big one on the super speedways, and it's probably going to happen. So you need to keep out of that and put yourself there at the end.
Definitely, and it's going to be interesting to see who pairs up tonight and who works together when the pit stops come out, and that who goes in together and comes out, and yeah, who's going to push who to the end.
Yeah, funny you say that. I'm looking through the Discord channels at the moment, and there are a couple of different teams. We've got Lachlan Hewitt, Neil McKenzie, and not sure who Rough Nut 55 is, but that's his Discord name anyway. So they're in the Downshift Sim Racing channel at the moment, so don't be surprised if we see those guys work together as well. Not sure who. Looks like we're on board with who. I'm not sure who we're on board with at the moment. Neil McKenzie, who I just spoke about doing his lap around in qualifying. But I'll go back up, ladies and gentlemen, while you just enjoy the beautiful scenes here brought to you on InterSim Esports Network at Daytona International Speedway while these guys get their qualifying laps out. We've got Chandler Hayden, Dean Goofoil. I can't pronounce that. I did say to Paul previously, we're just going to call him Dean G, so we're going to do that. And I won't want to say the other person's name in Discord, but there's 3 of those guys working together. There's a lot of people in another race channel as well. So, Paul, the answer to your question with who's going to work together with who I'm seeing through these channels, it could be anyone's night.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously as the race unfolds, you know, they may have to look to other drivers to work with as well.
Yeah, it's all going to be dependent on those pit stops and definitely whether they get those yellows or cautions rather. So very interesting to see how that's all going to play out. As we heard Tristan say, they're getting around the 22 to 26 laps out of a tank of fuel. Obviously, you can, if you're at the back there in that draft, you can save a couple of laps. So the person who leads this early, if they want to stay in front, they need to be really, really careful and see how much they are going to use on fuel, because that undercut around here, especially if we go green and you lose that draft, you are definitely going to be in trouble. So the tactics around this track is going to be interesting to see how these guys play it out, Paul.
Yeah, for sure. And currently sitting in P1 is Garth Duffy there, and Norman Clark in P2, and Michael Shorey in P3 currently. So it's quite a good results there. But Demetrius has just put himself up into P2.
Yeah, and look how close those times are. Demetrius Agathos and Norman Clark are 48.39 together, both exactly the same time. So very, very close. Michael Shaw, actually the 2nd, 3rd and 4th and 5th are a 48.39, Paul. So they're bang on. Derek Jacobs out of the USA putting himself up into P5 at the moment with that 48.39. And there's another 48.39 by Daniel Aguilera Bates. So outside of Garth Duffy there on pole at the moment as it stands with the 48.37. We have second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth all matched with the 48.39. What a great effort by those guys. And for round one of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen series, mate, could we ask for any more in qualifying? How close is this?
Oh, it's definitely close, and just shows the skill level between all the drivers is pretty much on par. So yeah, it's definitely going to come down to who works well as a team tonight.
Yeah, it is, and we've still got Darren McKenzie. He's got his second lap to go now. He had a 48.5 down. I can see he's still out there at the moment. No, it looks like he's in. Michael Budge is still out there as well. It looks like this may be the way that the field is set at the moment. So that's the end of qualifying at the moment. So that's the way that the field lines up, Paul. So, mate, here we go. We'll run through the grid. So off pole position, sorry guys, my live timing is playing up, but off pole position we have Garth Duffy. On the outside of the front row is Demetrius Agathos. In P3 on the inside of the second row is Norman Clark. P4 Daniel Aguilera Bates. Out of P5 is Michael Shaw. P6 is Derek Jacobs out of the USA. P7 Nigel Payton. P8 Chandler Hayden out of the USA as well on the outside of the fourth row. Steve Hoppett in P9, Jason Holdsworth P10, Darren McKenzie P11, and Tim Weston on the outside of the sixth row. Paul?
It's not clicking.
As we just wait for that to tick over, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologise. iRacing does have its things sometimes when it wants to, but I can keep running through that. P13 will be Michael Budge as it rolls over now. Sorry, Paul. P14 will be Greg Spencer out of 15, Brett Campbell out of 16, Dean G, as I said earlier. Out of 17's Trav Mason, 18 is Adam Malone. Out of 19 is Andy Barber, our Jetstar pilot. Hope he's flying tonight. Out of P20 is Justin Witcher. Daniel Beckinsale out of P21, Tristan Koch, as you saw earlier, who was nice enough to give us his time for a lap around Daytona out of P22, Neil McKenzie out of P23, and Dave Oliver out of P24.
And P25, we have Stephen Williams. He's going to be one to look for, starting right at the back there to come through. We've got Colby Cowham on P26 with Daniel Smith P27 and Jamie Nankervis in P28 rounding out the grid.
Yeah, Paul, and Steve Williams is a late entrant into this one. He's always going to be up there. We've got to look out for Stevie, but doesn't look like Jamie Nankervis set a time, or at least he might have stuffed up his qualifying, but I believe Jamie didn't set a time. He was fastest in practice, or one of the fastest, so he's playing the I'm going to sit at the back and wait for the end game by the looks of this one, Paul.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a long race, 100 laps at Daytona, so it's about who's going to keep their car clean and will be there at the end.
Yep, definitely, and as they follow the pace car around at the moment, we do have Garth Duffy and Demetrius Agathos off the front row. Norman Clark, the gentleman of iRacing, out of New Zealand on the inside of the second row there. Daniel Aguilera Bates on the outside of the second row. But yeah, it is a long race, Paul. Hope you settled in. Hope you got some refreshments ready to go, because we are about to go green here for the first round of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series here from Daytona on the InterSim Esports Network. So as we see the cars lining up in their grid positions at the moment, what a great turnout here on a Friday night for the Full Throttle Next Gen Cup Series. Look at those cars, how brilliant that is. So ladies and gentlemen, it will go off iRacing green for the first start, then it will go off the leader for any restart if there is one. There is also no 3 wide for the first lap, I believe, on the rules. So we'll see Garth Duffy bring him to the green here as the pace car pulls in. Garth Duffy, right. Demetrius Agathos on the outside, waiting for that green flag. And we are green here for the Full Throttle Next Gen Cup Series. Round one, brought to you here on the InterSim Esports Network. And Paul, we can't get too excited too early. 100 laps around Daytona. These guys just need to get themselves into position and get themselves nice and comfortable in the car, because it is a long race.
Yeah, definitely. Only lap one of the 100 laps at Daytona, so I'm sure everyone's just going to take the first couple of laps and get into a bit of a groove and see who's around them, and yeah, let the race unfold.
Yeah, what I'm excited about is when they start going, well, we said lap one they can't go 3 wide. Looks like they're going 3 wide. Oh, Shaw's been sent. Michael Shaw is up on his lid. Who was that? We said there was going to be a big one, and it's happened on lap one. Michael Shaw's not going to be happy with that at all, and that looks like that is night over.
Yeah, I might just bring up the replay for that and just watch what actually happened there.
Oh, not sure. It'd be interesting to go back and see the car on the outside and see what happened, because it looked like Michael was just minding his own business on the inside. Not sure if he got loose and come up, but it'd be interesting if we can get a little bit of view on the car on the outside and see what happened. But if we can't do that, that's okay. But it'd be good to see. But Michael Shaw's gone on a little bit of a wild ride there. He's definitely got his money's worth.
Yeah, it just looks like his car was a bit of a rag doll there, just getting tossed around and rolling all over the place, and on a bit of a skating ring there, going for a slide on his roof.
Yeah, he did more pirouettes than I saw in the diving at the Olympics today, mate. He did a 3.5 somersault with a pike by the looks of it, but his execution wasn't. His degree of difficulty was hard, but his execution wasn't the best. So very unfortunate there for Michael Shaw, but hopefully they do have a fast repair, so he'll get around here and get that sorted and get back into the race. So lucky he didn't blow an engine and had to tow. So very lucky for Michael. We don't see him down in the medical centre at the moment, but he is going very slow there, so I'm not sure whether he blew up. But Paul, we did speak about the big one. We didn't expect it on lap one.
Definitely not on lap one. You wouldn't have thought that would have happened. Everyone obviously just got caught up next to each other, and unfortunately that did happen on lap one, and several cars in pit lane there with a bit of damage. So a couple of guys using their fast repairs on lap one, so they're going to have to really take it easy not to sustain any more damage.
Yeah, 100%, especially around a track like this. They're going to have to be very, very, very careful. So Daytona, it brings anything to the table. Not sure what's going to happen, but we might actually bring Shawry down into the broadcast booth and have a chat to him and see what happens, or what happened while he is under yellow. So we do have Michael Shaw at the moment down in the broadcast booth. Shawry, mate, have you got a copy?
I do, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very well, mate. Unfortunate incident. We didn't catch whether it was the car on the outside or what happened. You've had to use your fast repair early, which is very unfortunate, especially on a super speedway. You're usually really well, and a great qualifying performance from you tonight as well. So you wouldn't be happy with how your race has started so far.
Yeah, mate, honestly, I don't know what happened. Somebody hit me from behind, and yeah, I know it wasn't my fault. I was nice and steady, and yeah, I just, yeah, I have to go back and have a look. I was hoping when you drag me up you can tell me what happened, but yeah, so but I'm still here. We'll see how we go. I just got to keep a little bit tidy now, and just not take as many risks, and yeah, see how it turn out.
Yeah, well, mate, we had a look on the broadcast and we didn't see a lot. We saw you on the inside. Not sure whether a car come down on the outside or whether you got tagged while you were holding the bottom line there and it shot you up into the top line. Not really sure what happened there. We didn't get a clear view, but I tell you what, you went for a ride.
Yeah, I did turn and skidded and landed up on my roof for a while. Yeah, but yeah, lucky I sort of got on my wheels, and I still had enough to get me back to the pits without getting the tow, which was good.
Yeah, exactly what I said. I did say you should have attempted to join the Australian diving team because it was a 3.5 somersault with a pike. You didn't really execute that well, but your degree of difficulty was good. So hopefully you're clean for the end of the race, mate, and we'll let you get back up into your channel. And thanks for making yourself available.
Not a problem. Was it at least an 8.5, was it? Or
we'd score you about a 9, I reckon.
oh, that's good. Not a problem. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
mate. Best of luck.
Good. Have a good broadcast.
And there we go. So pace car lights are off, and Demetrius Agathos in P1 currently, with Garth Duffy on P2 for the restart.
Yeah, mate, and how good is it, these people making themselves available here on the InterSim Esports Network. But Demetrius Agathos, as you said, yes, he's got in front of Garth Duffy off that start, and now Garth is in second, Daniel Aguilera-Bates in third, Norman Clark doing his Norman Clark stuff there in fourth. But these next-gen cars around Daytona, a lot of people haven't done a lot in these next-gen. I know here in Australasia anyway. This is one of the first series that has done the next-gen as we go green here for the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's next-gen Cup series. Sorry, I'm just trying to read live timing Paul at the same time, but Demetrius Agathos looks like he's got the lead. But what I'm interested to see as this race goes on is how these cars move and how they can do 2 or 3 lanes around the super speedway. They do have a lot more downforce from what I have had experience with driving these cars as opposed to the Cup car. So to see what happens as there is a second lane there, whether someone wants to create a third, and if someone wants to help them, whether that's actually going to get a good run, and how these side drafts happen. So this is really good learning for us as drivers too, Paul. We can get a little bit of learning now, but at the moment it looks like that bottom line is really working well together, and they're trying to keep it clean. But very interesting to see how this is going to play out as we are lap 6 into 100 here on the InterSim Esports Network on a Friday night.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's choosing just to fall in here. Just hold on to the single line, although further back in the field there we do have a bit of a second line there, but or even a third line, as you said. But yeah, they all just need to fall in, I think, and when the time's right, then look at building that second line.
Yeah, they do. And Michael Shaw, as you saw there, he just didn't know whether he wanted to choose a line. We were just speaking to him earlier. He needs to be very, very careful at the moment because he doesn't have that fast repair. Adam Malone is right behind him. Adam will be up there at the end. I've had some ding-dong battles with Adam over the last couple of weeks. He's a sensational driver as well, so need to be very careful. Jamie Nankervis, I reckon, is just sitting off the back there. I'm not sure whether he got caught up in that incident. I don't see him on my live timing, but yeah, it looks like Jamie had got caught up in that incident, so that was not a good idea from Jamie to not qualify. He got caught up in that incident. Looks like Smith, Cowan and Nankervis were caught up in that. There's a few caught up in that, but currently on board with Brett Campbell at the moment, doing a nice and steady job there. So Brett Campbell doing a great job. Where is our mate Andy Barber? Andy Barber in P9, our Jetstar pilot. And like we were always going to say a couple of puns, Paul. He's a Jetstar pilot in real life, and he's flying tonight. Currently now inside the top 10. Hopefully he can keep that going.
Definitely, and he's in a Toyota Camry there, but I'm sure it's no G6.
No, definitely no 737 or whatever he races or flies rather on a day-to-day basis. But great to see someone of his caliber to be in the Full Throttle Sim Racing League. So it is a mixture of people that run in these things. You know, we've got an airline pilot there running. We've probably got butchers. We've probably got, you know, people from all the walks of life. And this is the best thing about bringing this stuff to you guys, the viewers at home here on the InterSim Esports Network. And anyone that wants to get involved in iRacing, anyone can do it. Go and grab your steering wheel, go and grab a TV or a monitor, whatever you want to do, computer, and get amongst iRacing, because anyone can do it. And it's not about the money you spend, it's about the quality and the friendships. So, and this is what we're seeing right now, but it looks like we're getting that breakaway pack at the moment. You know, they've gone too wide. That's probably not going to help them, so that's going to help Norman Clark close up there on the inside line. And I don't think in these cars you're going to be able to get away too easily at the moment, as we see those Guys at the back just sitting there waiting. Michael Shaw back up there into P12 after that unfortunate incident. He's actually down 7 on his starting spot. But one of the biggest movers, Paul, is Dave Oliver in the 668. He's up 13 spots. I know we're only 10 laps into 100, but he's up 13 spots of his starting position.
I think I've just got to cut you short here. That was a fantastic push there from Derek Jacobs and Nigel Patton to push Daniel Aguilera-Bates straight to the pole, and all three of them slotted in to P1, 2 and 3 from that second line.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. And Derek Jacobs from the United States of America, he's usually not a fan of these fixed setups. He does a lot of open setup stuff and does a lot of setups himself. And that's in the Cup car, not the Next Gen or the Gen 7 as they were previously going to call it. So Derek's doing a great job there up in position 2. He must have a really good feel for this Next Gen car, and knowing the guys in the United States, they've probably done a lot of laps in the Next Gen car, getting a bit of practice ready for the 2022 season. So Derek Jacobs out of the United States of America doing a great job at the moment. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be sure to bring him up into the booth at some stage to give you a little bit of an insight of what's going on, as Daniel Aguilera-Bates currently is in first place, Derek Jacobs second. Nigel Payton, who has been doing a great job in his iRacing lately, he's been getting a lot more consistent. He's up there in P3. Great job there. Demetrius Agathos in 4. Duffy's dropped down to 5, but I think Duffy is just biding his time at the moment. This is, as we have said, a very, very, very long race, but one I'm going to keep my eye on all night is Derek Jacobs. He is one of the best super speedway racers that I've raced against. I know he doesn't do a lot of fixed stuff. He does open stuff. He's the one that did our set for Daytona at the beginning of the year. He does know how to drive super speedways, so he's going to be sitting there and just biding his time. If he can get his pit stops right and he can get people working together with him correctly, he's definitely going to be one to beat tonight.
And we're 13 laps in now, so as I think Tristan mentioned, they were looking at possibly 26 laps of fuel, so they're probably about halfway into their stint now, and be looking to make their first pit stops in another 13 odd laps.
Yeah, 13 to 15, I reckon, Paul. They did have a couple of laps under caution there, which would have helped them a little bit. I'm not sure it would have given them any more than one lap, but you're exactly right. I reckon we're halfway through that fuel stint. You just did mention Tristan Koch. He did the fastest lap on the last race on the last lap of a 45.96, but he would have been in the tow there, just getting himself into position. But yeah, you're exactly right, mate. We're halfway through the fuel stint at the moment. If there's no cautions, we're going to see green flag pit stops, which around Daytona can be a little bit hairy. So these guys do not want to, they need a friend. They definitely, I hope they're talking on Discord or talking to each other in Race Channel, because they're going to need a friend. And at the moment, it looks like Daniel Aguilera-Bates and Derek Jacobs and Nigel Payton are definitely working together. So if they get a little bit of a gap here, which I'm not sure they're going to do around Daytona, but you're definitely going to need a friend, especially when you're coming out under green for a green flag pit stop, Paul.
Definitely. They all got to time it right with who's around them to keep on that pace and work together in their pit stops. You know, obviously make sure that, someone, if they're working with someone or a teammate or just another driver on the track, that if they do decide to pit together, that they, one of them doesn't take tyres and the other one doesn't. So that sort of thing where it can drag out a pit stop a bit longer, and then they lose the connection with the other car.
Yeah, exactly. And the transition into pit lane and out of pit lane is very, very important, especially on a super speedway. You can lose a second or two if you don't come into the pit lane quick enough, but you can definitely ruin your race if you get a speeding penalty or do not transition through that pit lane. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone watching here on the InterSim Esports Network, you might think turning left around the super speedway is easy, but there is so much that can go wrong, and there's a lot of pressure when these guys are coming in. If they come in under green, they are really going to have to hit their marks, look for their pit stop, make it through that pit transition really, really smoothly and get out and join up with another car, because if you don't, you can move back very quickly. And especially if we are going to go green to the end, which I'm not sure, it's Daytona, there's always going to be a big one, but we've already had that. But Paul, everything we've called here on the IndySim Esports Network, I get excited early, and then in the last 10 laps, it's all happening. But it is definitely important to be able to transition through that pit lane. Your entry and exit and your stop on your box is very important, as they're about to come up on a lap car at the moment, Paul.
Definitely, and his lap cars, as we see there, number 33 of Trav Mason, just going to the high side to let the lead pack through.
Yeah, great driving there. Just letting the lead pack through. I'm sure he has not taken his fast repair and he's just hoping for a caution to be able to take it. I'm not sure what's happened with him at the moment. But these top three guys at the moment are working really well together. Demetrius Agathos, as we have a car having to go below the yellow there just to avoid a little bit of trouble. Great driving by those guys as they try and navigate the lap traffic. But the top three guys are doing a great job, but Demetrius Agathos and Garth Duffy and Norman Clark sitting there right behind him. It looks like they've got a little bit of a gap there to Michael Budge and Andy Barber, the airline pilot, the Flyer. We're going to call him the Flyer from now on, Paul. We've named him the Flyer, or I've just named him the Flyer. But they've got a little bit of a gap. We'll go back and have a look at some of the other drivers and see how they're going at the moment. Michael Shaw at the moment is in 14th, doing a great job. We're on board there with Michael Budge. We're going to call him Budgie. So we're on board with Budgie. I like a nickname here, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, Paul. I love a nickname.
Well, I'm interested to see what you come up for everyone else now.
Mate, there's some that I'd rather not say on the broadcast, but let's just keep rolling. Yeah, Budgie there, Michael Budge is doing a great job there in P7 with the Flyer right behind him there in P8, Andy Barber. But these guys doing a great job. Looks like this lead pack's taken a little bit of a gap there to everyone behind. It's really played out, but it is a lead pack of around about the 11 or 12 cars at the moment out of this 28 car field. So they've got a gap. Stevie Williams, he's currently 27 seconds behind the leader. So not sure what's happened there, whether he has just not had a friend to follow or whether he's playing it. But we know he's a wily old fox, Steve Williams, so he'll probably get up there at the end. But we're nearly coming into the pit stop period in the next 10 or so laps, and we have 12 or 14 cars at the front at the moment vying for it.
Yeah, so we've got Daniel Bates in P1 holding up the train here of the first 11 cars, and then we go back to Justin Witcher in P12 with about a 3.5 second gap to the back of P11 there. And we've got 5 cars there on that pack, and then we go back a little bit further to Greg Spencer and Neil McKenzie there. So couple of little packs here, but I think we've just seen our first pit stops here as Michael Shorey comes into the pit lane.
Oh, that's very interesting. That's very interesting, because he would have came into the pits earlier to take his fast repair, and he obviously didn't take fuel or anything. Well, he did it. Tyres are generally not going to be an issue here around Daytona International Speedway, so interesting strategy there from Michael Shaw. He's going to go a lap down. Not sure why he's done that. There must be a reason, but he's obviously knows more than us up here in the broadcast booth. But the guys at the front here, Daniel Aguilera Bates, Derek Jacobs, Nigel Payton, doing a great job there at the front. These three guys have been faultless so far. They are working so well. These guys have done a lot of oval racing. They know exactly what they're doing, and the race hasn't even started yet. This is a little bit like you're just buying for position. You're just waiting for the time for when I can get back into the championship mode. So it's like when you're at a championship and you're just buying, jostling for position and putting yourself into the position to be there at the end. But they haven't even gone through their green flag pit stop yet, and they've got another green flag pit stop if we don't go under caution to go again. So a long way to go, Paul.
Definitely. It looks like Garth Duffy's just having some internet problems there as he's going to drop to the back of this pack. maybe some connection issues there. So he was running up in P5 there with Demetrios, and was the pole sitter for qualifying as well, I believe. So it's a little bit unfortunate for him, but hopefully his internet comes back.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Very unfortunate for Garth that he keeps dropping in and out there, but I'll guarantee you he'll be there at the end if his internet does reconnect properly. But that's the pleasure we have on sim racing, Paul. I experienced that last night. Sometimes the internet gods just don't want you to race, so very unfortunate there for Garth. But these guys at the front, Daniel Aguilera Bates, Derek Jacobs and Nigel Payton, still doing a great job there, leading the field away as we are nearly, I think we're about 20-odd laps into the first instalment of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series from Daytona Beach, brought to you here on the IndySim Esports Network on a Friday night.
We might jump on board quickly with maybe Derek Jacobs here in P2. We'll jump on board with him for a lap around, just have a look at that push on Daniel Aguilera Bates there for a lap or two.
Yeah, most definitely, Paul. I reckon we put it on that gyro view. Let's give the viewers a view again while they're in race situations. See how steeply banked this track actually is. So, ladies and gentlemen, here on the IndySim Esports Network on a Friday night, have a look at this. The new Next Gen Cup car around Daytona, rather. Look at the banking on the track, and this is what the guys have to concentrate with and put up with. So, sit tight for a couple of laps, guys. We'll let you go around with Derek Jacobs from the United States of America. We'll be back shortly. There we go, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of laps around Daytona International Speedway with Derek Jacobs out of the United States of America. How good was that, Paul, with that gyro viewer to see how big the banking is here at Daytona, Florida?
Yeah, that's quite a big steep bank there. Don't know if you've got those decals there or not on the degree of that bank.
I actually don't. I did a lot of background work coming into this, and that's the one thing I didn't look at. I've got a lot of other information, so I do apologise for that. But Paul, really quickly, before these guys transition through their green flag pit stops, rather, we do have Steve Hoppett, who is actually running this league. Was down in the medical booth, and he's up here in the broadcast booth at the moment. Steve, have you got a copy?
I do. I certainly do. How are you, Aidan?
Mate, very well. Not good to be down the medical booth. I hope Sonia, as the other people through other broadcasts give them names. So in this one, we're going to call her Sonia. I'm sure you didn't want to see Sonia this early.
No, I didn't. But it's got a lot more. Well, the early crash didn't help. I'm running new pedals, and they are extremely heavy. They're fantastic pedals. I got the BJ Steel GTs with a 200 kilo load cell. And I think I blew out something trying to stop for that accident. But yeah, was unable to avoid that. And due to that, got a couple of black flags and stuff. And just ended up pulling out and actually just watching what was going on track.
Unfortunate, mate. You were pretty quick there in practice and qualifying. You had a really, really good start to the race. So unfortunate for there to be an incident there that early on lap one, and hopefully you didn't blow your such and such valve. We won't say that here on the broadcast, but I can understand what you were trying to get up there, trying to push 200 kilos through your left foot. So, mate, unfortunate start to the race, but great job getting this series up and running, and I'm sure you're really, really happy with the entrance you have here on round one, especially Friday night, Next Gen Cup cars, something completely different. I'm sure you're very proud with the turnout.
Mate, I'm absolutely stoked. I could not be happier. It's a fantastic turnout. I believe we had 26 show up, and we had 23 starters off the grid. So, look, yeah, I couldn't be happier, and I'm so thankful for everybody that's actually shown up to get this series up and running. For anybody that's interested, Next Gen Cup cars, fixed setups, and there are no tracks under 2 miles. So this is going to be one of those Fast and Furious series, I believe.
No worries, mate, but feel free to stay up here for a second as the guys are just going through their green flag pit stops, Paul. We just see a couple of the drivers there blinking before the others, so the green flag pit stops are happening right now. So who's going to be the buddy? Who's going to come out and help each other?
Yeah, definitely. We saw Daniel and Derek and Nigel all go in there along with a couple of other cars, and the way they just fanned out there, I'd say there would have been a bit of communication between all of them, that they're all pitting, so they left plenty of room between each other.
Yeah, definitely they would have worked together. And it looks like, from what I can see, and correct me if I'm wrong, actually, that's actually really, really interesting there, Paul, because, oh yeah, all of them, sorry, yep, all of them are in the same channel. So they are definitely working together on where they need to be. But Steve, while you're up in the broadcast booth, mate, you're more than happy. I know you do a little bit of commentary as well. You're more than happy to stay up here. I know your night's over and you're going to be really disappointed, but mate, as the owner of the league, or running the league rather, you are more than happy to stay up in the broadcast booth if you want to give it a little bit of your knowledge here on the Next Gen Cup cars around Daytona, and join us in the booth for the next 60 odd laps and bring us home if you'd like.
Well, I don't mind sticking around. I'll just sort of add my 2 cents here and there. But really, mate, does anybody have a lot of knowledge about these next-gen cars at the moment?
Mate, yeah, that's a very, very good point. I know that they have 550 to 670 horsepower. That's what I know. But no, in all seriousness, they are a totally different car to drive. I haven't driven one around a super speedway. But yeah, they are a different car to drive, a lot more downforce, a lot easier to drive, in my opinion, to the current Cup car.
They are at the moment. That will change as time goes on.
Yeah, most definitely. It will change with the iRacing updates, but it's creating great racing tonight. As we see Jason Holdworth currently in P1. He hasn't pitted at the moment, I don't believe, but he may have. No, Demetrius Agathos is following him around as well. So we might just let these guys do a couple of laps here, Paul, as we walk away for a sec and reset and get ready to keep calling this race, because these pit stops need to transition and get everyone out on the track so we know where everyone is on their relative. Yeah,
if we just have a look there on screen now. So Jason Holdsworth's actually made 2 stops currently as he falls back to P4. Justin Witcher and Dave Oliver and Daniel Beckinsale also having done a 2-stopper along with Tristan Koch and Tim Weston. So there's a few guys that have made a couple of stops there, and you know, that could have been from the caution as well. So,
well, these guys are no mugs. They know what they're doing. Tristan Koch and the likes. They would have done that especially for fuel, because the way that this was set up, getting 24 to 26 laps of fuel out of it, it's a 100-lap race. Every little bit of fuel and one less stop you've got to do, excuse me, with a frog in my throat, every less stop you've got to do is going to serve yourself better. But if you are running around by yourself, obviously it's not going to help as well. But the amount of time, if you can get those extra 5 laps out and not have to do that last stop, you're definitely going to get a race-winning lead. But currently Nigel Payton has taken the lead at the front there. Looks like he's done a great job through his pit stop. Daniel Aguilera Bates in P2. Justin Witcher's moved up 17 spots. into P3. So not sure whether Justin hasn't pitted because he was back there a little bit earlier. Jason Holdsworth, as you just mentioned there, Paul, up 6 spots into P4. Demetrius Agathos must have had a little bit of an issue, or he's just keeping it calm at the moment, down 3 spots into P5. But the mover of the night at the moment, Dave Oliver, up 18 spots in P6, Paul.
Yeah, the one that I'm actually questioning is Derek Jacobs. What happened to Derek in that pit stop as he's fallen right back to P14?
Yeah, not sure what's happened with Derek there. We actually might have to bring him up and have a chat. He's by himself now, so I'm sure he won't mind us bringing him up into the broadcast booth, but we'll get that from Derek himself and see what he has to say. So we've currently got Derek Jacobs out of the United States of America up into the broadcast booth, mate. Hope you got a copy. Hope you don't mind us bringing it up.
I got a copy, Mr. Schultz. How are you gentlemen doing this afternoon?
Yeah, good, Derek, mate. We're doing sensational. Mate, great job up into P2 earlier. You are the super speedway technician, as I'd like to call you. You love a super speedway. What happened there?
Most definitely.
What happened there through the pit stop? You're up into P2 and now you're into P14 running away.
Pit stall. I missed the pit stall and a little combobulation getting into the pits there. Missed the pit stall. So that cost me about 8 seconds. So that's why I'm about 8 seconds behind here. So as long as I can find a car eventually, we will be back in business because I got a super fast Chevrolet going tonight. So in the car number 99.
Well, mate, out of the USA, great for you guys. It's a stupid time of the morning there to be able.
It is 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, great job, mate. So big shout out, mate, while you're there. United States, let everyone know where you're from in the United States of America. Big shout out to any sponsors, anyone while you're here. It's the floor's yours for the next minute, mate.
Thank you, Aiden and Paul. I just want to say thanks to Water on the Rocks and a lot of the guys that helped me build setups. Even though this is a fixed setup league, I do run with a pretty big team now, and we're basically just running laps. We did set 2 world records last week at the iRacing Super Speedway. So we've been really doing some good things, building some fast cars, and learning how to drive them.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And I did say it on the broadcast, you do come from a lot of open sets. You love building a race car, and you don't necessarily love running fixed sets, but you're always over here enjoying the Australian racing leagues. What do you like so much about running in the Australian stock car leagues?
You know what, Aiden, I find that the class of participants is phenomenal. That's the way that most of these gentlemen treat each other, and respect on the track. And everybody has a lot of class, so, and everybody races pretty respectfully, and so I enjoy it. I like to get down and dirty with the Aussies every once in a while and see if we can mix it up.
Well, I'm sure everyone here on the InterSim Esports Network, and more so the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series, really does appreciate you making your time and jumping into the league. And hopefully, mate, we can talk to you in the broadcast booth, getting a P123 at some stage, if not tonight. But we really do appreciate you being on, and look forward to calling you over the next couple of weeks.
Just quickly, sorry. Just quickly, as the admin on the league, I'd like to actually personally say I was really happy to see Derek and the other American runners come in tonight. It is a terrible time in the morning, and I was really pleased to have them here.
Well, we appreciate it, Stephen. We like what you got going on here. We're very appreciative to run in your league, and it's, like I said earlier, a lot of class, and a lot of great, talented drivers out here in Australia. So we definitely enjoy mixing it up with you guys and seeing what we can do.
Yep, I look forward to seeing what you guys can do throughout the series. Fantastic stuff.
Thank you very much, Steve.
No worries, guys. There we go. Derek Jacobs out of the United States of America at stupid o'clock in the morning. We thank you, Derek. Hopefully we're talking to you in the top 3 at the end of the race.
Thanks, Aiden. Paul, you guys have a great podcast and enjoy the show.
No worries. We'll move you back up into the general chat at the moment, mate. We'll wish you the best. We'll move back to the front. But there we go, Paul. United States of America. Derek Jacobs. There's something a little bit different here on the IndySim Esports Network. There you go. That's what we bring to you. So many people from around the world running. And, mate, how good is it to have some Americans who love their stock car racing in here at stupid o'clock in the morning on a Friday morning in America running our leagues here on a Friday night. How good is that?
Yeah, it's pretty good, getting a bit of a variety of countrymen coming through, so it's always good to run with the, as we put it, the Yanks, running with the Americans there, and I know myself, I do like a good, every now and then, a good official race and beating a few of them.
Yeah, well, I actually run an American league, which I've started in the last couple of weeks, and I love beating them every week too. They hate every minute of it. So, yeah, loving doing that. But in this league at the moment tonight, we've got Australians, New Zealanders, and Americans in the server running around. So this is what iRacing is, and different times across the globe, everyone running. So that's the best thing that Steve can see in this series at the moment. With all these different time zones, people are all showing up. So at the moment in New Zealand, it would be roughly, I would say, around about the 10:45 p.m. And in America, it would be 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, as Derek, depending what coast of the United States you're on. So, ladies and gentlemen, everyone's joining everywhere at different times, and that's what's so great. But not sure with how that's going to help results, whether it's tied or anything, but it's definitely Australian server time. And as we see at the moment, we have an Australian at the front, Nigel Payton, doing a great job with a clean set of heels there up in P1. Daniel Aguilera-Bates, P2. Justin Witcher, Nigel Payton's teammate. He doesn't show the colours tonight, but they are actually teammates. He's there in P3, so those guys will work together as this race unfolds. Jason Holdsworth in P4, Demetrius Agathos P5, and Dave Oliver still doing a nice solid drive there, up 18 spots in P6, Paul.
Yeah, as you mentioned there with Nigel and Justin Witcher and also Greg Spencer, I think the paint booth was a little bit slack on that one for tonight, so I'm sure we'll see some team colours from them in the next week or two.
Yeah, I reckon they need to have a look at their painters. I reckon their old body shop worker must have had a COVID holiday or something, but I'm sure they'll get that sorted for next week. But
well, it's not the only one.
Oh, COVID, hasn't that been fun for everyone around Australia, New Zealand, and around the world? But
I've been so flat out that I realised 2 hours before the race I hadn't done myself a custom skin yet. So I'm basically running a standard car with just an iRacing skin on it. That I thought was in the team colours, and that was just going to have to do this week.
No, that's all right, mate. At the end of the day, it is just a colour on a car, as we have Daniel Aguilera-Bates trying to take it too wide. He's going to be stuck out here a little bit at the moment if Holdsworth wants to drop down on the inside line, but it looks like Holdsworth wants to create that second line with Daniel.
It's actually just cut in there, Aiden. It's actually Justin Witcher who tried to go around there.
My apologies, mate. I'm
Daniel.
just looking at live timing. My apologies. But Justin Witcher, definitely, he's trying to get on the back of Nigel there. So when he clears the car in front, he's going to drop down behind Nigel, I'd suggest. He's going to, but he doesn't have the room there. So Justin getting a great run around the outside, getting pushed by Jason Holdsworth, I believe, or Daniel Aguilera-Bates. Not sure. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still getting used to liveries. It is the first night out. So, but we are too wide here at Daytona for the Daytona first round of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League NextGen Cup Series here from Daytona.
I think part of your problem there is that the number on Jason Holdsworth's car is not the one that is actually listed in the entry list.
Well, it looks like Jason Holdsworth may be getting a little bit of a penalty at this one. But anyway, let's not concentrate on that at the moment. Let's concentrate on the action at the front as we are nearly halfway through the Daytona. Sorry, guys, I'm just looking at my live timing. We are halfway through the first round of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's NextGen Cup Series, brought to you here right on the IndySim Esports Network here on a Friday night. Paul, mate, Let's settle in for a little bit. I might walk away for a second and go grab a drink because I keep coughing and I feel like I've been speaking too much. So, mate, we'll let these guys settle in and do a couple of laps around Daytona.
Yeah, that's it. I'll just give you a little bit of a catch-up here. So, Justin Witcher obviously moved up into P1 over Nigel Patton, but the driver that pushed him there was actually Greg Spencer. So he's actually a lap down there, I believe. But those three teammates now all at the front, they're working together with obviously Greg in the middle of P1 and 2 there. But these guys are definitely going to look to link up as they have and look to run away with this.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing here, Paul, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm looking at the live timing. It looks like Justin Witcher, Nigel Payton and Daniel Aguilera Bates pitted on lap 29. Jason Holdsworth, Demetrius Agathos, Dave Oliver and Michael Budge, and also Daniel Beckinsale pitted on P30. So they've got a little bit extra fuel in their car, those guys behind, and they're actually sitting in the draft at the moment. So this might work well if this keeps going green for those guys sitting through the 4th to 7th or 8th position at the moment to keep going together to be able to get that undercut, because tyres at Daytona are not an issue. They're not going to be taking tyres as far as I believe. I don't usually. But it's definitely a fuel race at the moment. Who's going to be quicker in and off pit lane? So at the moment, those guys sitting 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th and 8th are sitting in a really, really good position to be able to jump these guys at the front if we're doing green flag pit stops as we move forward into the mid to end of the race.
Yeah, and what Justin should really do is let Greg jump out to the front here so he's in front of the leaders, but also so Justin and Nigel can sit behind there and save a little bit of fuel. With Justin being the leader, he'll be burning a lot more fuel up the front there.
Yeah, most definitely. He's going to be taking at least a lap or 2 laps off his actual burn time for this strategy, or for this stint rather. So Justin, or he could even just drop to the back at the moment and just sit there, but he's going to want to work with his team. So Greg, being a lap down, should probably, if it was my teammate, he should be taking the front and helping out Justin and Nigel at the moment. But these guys sitting in that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th position at the moment are sitting there licking their lips going, every lap you guys do this, we are going to undercut you on the pit stop with fuel. But in saying that, hopefully they've got their tyres ticked off and they can not take tyres and do it on fuel. As soon as you take tyres, they're going to go backwards. So we see the 3 guys there working really hard on the outside, trying to create that gap. So they might know what we're saying there on the broadcast, Paul. They're going, hang on, we need to go, because if we don't get that gap, we are going to get absolutely undercut on the pit stop.
Yeah, but it also comes down to how well the cars behind are going to push you as well. So if there's a few cars floating around at the moment, and if they're not locked onto each other's rear bumper, then the guys that even if they pit a little bit later, they may still get a pretty good jump there. So
yeah, I think what we're looking for, Paul, and you make a very, very valid point, as you always do. But yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. You make. Oh, we've got a caution. Well, everything we just spoke about for the last 5 minutes, Paul, has been thrown out the window.
Well, I don't want to smash my window at this time of night, so I'm not throwing anything out the window.
Please don't do that, mate. It'd not be really good for a Friday night. You wouldn't want to clean that up in the morning. But I did hear you girls want to do sweeping at 4 o'clock in the morning, so they might want to do that for you. So, but yeah, we're under caution here on the Intersim Esports Network on a Friday night, Paul. We might go back and have a look at that if that's possible and see what brought out the caution. All right, we're watching here. Oh, up in the background. Hopefully that's not Michael Shaw involved in that again. Oh, Derek Jacobs, who we spoke to before. There's a lot of cars tied up in that.
Yeah, unfortunately, our pole seat has actually been right in the middle of that. Daniel Aguilera Bates, and he's been so he was just doing so well in all that, and it's pretty sad to see the state of the rear end of that car at the moment.
He was, but he's got that fast repair. He's had a really clean car all night, so if he can get that back to pit lane, he'll be fine, and he'll have another go. But Steve, what we might do, I might just pop away for a second. If you're okay to just take over for 2 minutes.
I've got no problem with that. I love a chat, and I don't mind sitting here with Paul. But look, there's been some fantastic racing in amongst these guys. Field's a little bit spread out at the moment, but there are groups of 4 and 5, 6. There are groups of 8 and 9. So yeah, it's still looking like some good stuff. And with this caution, it's going to really just bunch the field up, Paul.
Yeah, definitely. So it'll definitely help these guys that needed to pit probably in the next couple of laps coming up as well. So they'll be able to pit under caution now. We did see Adam Malone, I think, dive to pits a little bit earlier. So he, not sure who will get the lucky dog here. If you have that info, perhaps we might be able to tell.
Yeah, I'm really not sure where he's sitting at the moment. So whether he gets the lucky dog or not, I don't know. It wasn't that long ago that he pitted, so he may actually just opt to stay out behind the pace car, especially considering that there's not a real heavy load on tyres at this track. That's why there was only the start set and the pit set. So it's all going to come down to the fuel that he's burnt and whether he feels there's going to be another caution period shortly so that he could take advantage of that, or whether he wants to come in now and just cover his bets. If it was me and it's not that long since I'd actually pitted, I would be staying out and just roll the dice on there being another caution period the next 10 or 15 laps.
Yeah, I'm sure the drivers probably don't want it that early because I dare say they're going to need to do one more stop. So ideally probably around that 75 lap mark they'll be wanting to look at stopping again for the run home. So that's probably when they're wanting to have that caution come out for a yellow flag pit stop.
Absolutely, and there's still so many guys running from the original starting grid because, as it was pointed out pre-race, 75% of the race distance has to be covered to actually collect the points, and there are points all the way down through the field. 43 car grid spots for this series. And obviously we're only using half of that, but it means everybody gets a real good fistful of points. They've just got to get to lap 75.
And guys, I just need to jump in quickly. I've just brought Norman Clark up into the booth at the moment, currently sitting there in P6. Norman Clark out of New Zealand, you got a copy, mate? Yep, we've got a copy, Norman. How are you, mate? Very well, mate. Thanks for making yourself available tonight. Currently P6 or P7 as my live timing keeps rolling over on me. Doing a great job there, mate. Daytona International Speedway in the NextGen Cup car. How are you feeling so far?
Yeah, quite okay. Thank you.
So you think you got something for the guys towards the end? You're just sitting there biding your time and waiting for the end of the race as we've seen a couple of big incidents earlier?
I'm certainly not biding my time. I'm just hanging on and hoping for the best.
That's fair enough, mate. Paul, anything you want to say to Norman? They're about to go green.
Oh, Norman, do you have a cheeky little fast repair up your sleeve there, or have you used that one already?
No, I've still got a fast repair actually now that you mention it.
That's a good ace to have up the sleeve there for coming into the last 46 laps of the race, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's no lie.
All right, mate. Well, we'll let you go as you're about to go green now. We'll pull you back up, but thanks for making yourself available. Best of luck. Hopefully we're talking in the broadcast booth at the end.
Okay, thanks.
And we are green underway racing again with Justin Witcher in P1 and Nigel Padden just slotting in behind Justin in P2 with Daniel Beckinsale in P3.
Yeah, well, I walked away for a second, guys, and I'm trying to catch up now, but it's the usual suspects as we saw that we thought were going to go backwards a little bit if green flag pit stops. That really worked well for them at the moment. So now it's even for everybody as you see this field at the moment really, really deep down the back. They're not wanting to go 3 wide. So These guys were lap 55 into 100. We're only just over halfway into round one of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series, brought to you here on the InterSim Esports Network on a Friday night. So a long way to go, Paul, and our special guest in here tonight, also Steve Hoppett, who is running this league. Thank you for staying up and being a part of it. We thought we'd give you the opportunity to speak and say everything you want to. Very unfortunate start to your night or your campaign in this league, but thank you for jumping up here. But it's definitely now made it even. There's 13 cars on the lead lap. We do have Tristan Koch, was the man who took us around Daytona earlier in the broadcast, is doing a great job there in P11. Norman Clark's moved back to 9th at the moment, or now back to 10th, so he's pretty much got hung out to dry. Demetrius Agathos in 9th. Andy Barber, the flyer, as we call him, P8. Daniel Aguilera Bates has used his fast repair there, so doing a great job up there as well, but he's got to be really careful. As we saw Michael Shaw use his fast repair earlier, and now he's 3 laps down. He must have got caught up in something. Derek Jacobs is a lap down. He was waiting for someone to help him, so not sure what goes on there, but there's a long way to go. We do have wave rounds. We have 13 cars on the lead lap at the moment, but Justin Witcher and Nigel Payton are gone. They are working together and they are gone. So let's see whether Daniel Beckinsale, Tim Weston, Dave Oliver and Dean Guilfoyle, Daniel Aguilera Bates want to work together and try and drag these two guys back in, because 3 or 4, 5 cars working together as opposed to the 2 will be a lot better aerodynamically, if I can get that out. But while these guys fight behind, these 2 in front are showing a clean set of heels. It looks like there's only going to be 1 pit stop till the end. So if these guys can get a gap, this could be good if we go green to the end for these 2.
Yeah, great restart here for Justin and Nigel working together. They've checked out on the rest of the pack here, which makes me wonder if we go back to Daniel. I just wonder if maybe he's got a little bit of damage there, possibly, that he's not able to run as fast as the other 2 up front.
Yeah, possibly. And if he does, it's probably in his best interest to just let Aguilera Bates or Weston or someone just jump in front of him and try and get the tow, because the more, if he does have damage, and this is all speculation at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, but if he does have damage, it's not in their best interest to be able to catch up at the moment. He's probably going to have to sit in behind, but up here in the broadcast booth we can speculate all we want. These guys are in the driver's seat. They know what they want to do, but at the moment that gap is slowly opening out. It is now at 1.5 seconds. It's sort of steadied around about that 1.5 seconds, Paul. So I think it's more so that they're going too wide and they're trying to do that as opposed to slipping in together. If they had a freight train of 10 or 11 now, they'd pull back on those leaders within 2 or 3 laps. So as we can see, the gap slowly shortening now as they stop fighting too wide. So let's watch this over the next 10 laps and see whether this second group can pull in Justin Witcher and Nigel Payton there at the front.
Yeah, as they start to close up that gap, it's almost down to a second now. That's going to leave Justin and Nigel sitting ducks, as this whole field's going to just steamroll straight over the top of them.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I thought. As soon as they stopped going too wide, they were definitely going to catch this front group. And you look at that drop, Paul, look how quick that difference. Like, we're talking 0.3 a corner. They are coming and they are steamrolling. You watch, as soon as they get to Witcher and Payton, they're going to have that big of a run. They're going to go the outside line. They're going to go straight around the outside. But I could be made look a fool. They're probably just going to sit there now by the looks of it too. But yeah, Justin and Nigel are use that fuel in those first couple of laps there. So these guys at the back, or in behind them rather, will have better fuel. But Beckinsale, who was leading that, is also, he would have used a lot of fuel there, leading that group up onto the back of these first 2. So as we're about to get a second lane with the flyer, Andy Barber trying to make a second lane around the outside. Not really going to work for him there with only 1 guy behind him, so that inside line's going to clear them, and he's going to have to drop down there when he gets a sec. But, mate, 61 laps into 100 here on the first round of the Full Throttle Sim Racing League's Next Gen Cup Series, mate. So could you ask for any better? Round 1, nearly 30 cars. We've got 13 on the lead lap. Look at the quality of this racing by the drivers. We've had Americans in here. We've had Americans join us on the chat. Bring in a lot of content to the viewers. Mate, how good is this?
Definitely can't forget we've had Kiwis in the chat as well. So
Oh, we have. We can't forget Norman. My apologies, mate.
yeah, but what do we had? 2 cautions tonight for a super speedway. So that's some pretty good racing tonight.
Yeah, considering the size of the field, Paul, that is really good racing. But as Derek did mention earlier, the quality of these drivers and the respect they have for each other is absolutely amazing. So that's why they get the quality of the racing we do in these Australian leagues. People know how to race and they have a lot of respect. So I didn't expect any less. Obviously, there's always going to be that wreck on a super speedway. We're all human, but these guys at the front, or the top 13 on the lead lap at the moment, are doing a great job. Look out for Tristan Koch, though. I'll tell you, look out for him. We haven't spoken about him much all night. He's just been sitting there, and he's going to come back. But Justin Witcher and Nigel Payton at the moment are doing a great job there, leading the train with Beckinsale in 3rd, Weston 4th, Oliver 5th. We haven't even spoken a lot about Dave Oliver. I did mention him earlier with how many spots he's up. He is up 19 spots on his starting position at the moment, but we haven't really, apart from saying how many cars he has been up on from the start, we haven't spoken a lot about Dave Oliver. So Dave Oliver's been doing a great job there in the green 668 car on the inside. So don't be surprised if he's up there at the end, but I'm not going to get too excited too early, Paul. We've still got another green flag pit stop before the end, and then we get excited and get off our chair.
The one I'm actually looking at is Greg Spencer. So he's found his way back onto the lead lap once again, and he's definitely going to be wanting to get back up to the front there with Justin and Nigel.
Yeah, he definitely will be wanting to work that high line. It looks like he was at the moment, trying to get up with Justin and Nigel. They'll be talking in their chat saying, Greg, come on, come on, come on. But it's really hard for Greg at the moment unless he has someone to push him up there. He's really sort of just stuck in that position to be able to move up. So interesting to see what Greg's going to do here, whether he's going to sit there. It looks like Justin got a little bit of antsy at the front there. He wanted to move out a little bit. Not sure whether he wanted to check up that outside line to help Greg. It looks like he did. But that's made him now really succumb to that outside line. So it looks like we've got a new leader now here on a Friday night of the Sydney Sports Network. Looks like the flyer, Andy Barber, has taken the lead here at Daytona International Speedway. So there you go, Paul. There you see, with teamwork, they tried to check up the outside line to help Greg, and it helped them, but those guys behind them on the outside line definitely did get the run. But that's also going to help Justin and Nigel as well with their fuel. So they're not going to be not too happy to just sit there behind. You can see Greg on the outside line there, really just trying to get past to try and get in behind his teammates. So you can see they're definitely trying to work together and talking here on the channel, mate, as we're here broadcasting live. How good is this?
Yeah, it's great to see the teamwork, and obviously, you know, as you said, it's all speculation here in the booth, but you know, it's a story unfolding before our eyes as we see what's going on. But the flyer, as you've nicknamed him, Andy Barber, looks like he's just losing out there to Justin, who's trying to get a run around here, but he's tucked in there behind Steve Williams. So Steve Williams, I believe, now back on the lead lap, but at the very front